And for Johnny Cochran and everyone else who was a member of that team, it was a big, big deal. Really big deal. But I want to compare what they did with what Johnny Depp was up against, because Johnny Depp's trial is different. It wasn't a criminal case, it's a defamation case, which is different. In a criminal trial, to win as a defense attorney, you just have to raise a reasonable doubt. And no offense to criminal defense attorneys out there, but prosecutors are the ones who have to prove something. And it's an enormous burden beyond any and all reasonable doubt. Defense attorneys like the Dream Team just have to convince the jury that there is some reasonable doubt, and they win the case.
And that's what happened with the Casey trial.
You bring a
when Jose Baez introduced, hey, maybe, you know, little Kaylee, maybe she had drowned accidentally in the family pool, that planted the doubt in the juror's mind.
Defamation case, it's different. The burden's on you.
Oh, you saw the whole
You now have to prove it. It's not that you're just trying to show that they can't prove it. You have to prove it. And when you're a celebrity who's claiming that you've been defamed, a public figure, the burden is even greater and more difficult. Now, for Johnny Depp, don't forget, before this trial ever happened, there was a trial over in the UK. Johnny lost that case. And different system of justice, a judge, one person made the decision for whatever that's worth. But in that case that Johnny lost, the burden was on the other side because it's the UK. Their system is a little backwards. Anyhow, so
he said their system's a little backwards. You think he meant it as, as an insult right there? Because I think he could have meant backwards as in like they do things backwardsly, like the opposite, or he just meant like, oh yeah, there's some little backwards because they sided with the news group.
The trial here in the United States, public figure suing for defamation after having lost a similar case, not the same case, but a similar case over in the UK. And what we witnessed is what I'm referring to as the miracle in Fairfax. To completely turn that thing around, to win. To actually win. And I'll be honest, the first time I looked at this case, I said, okay, I'm open-minded and all, but I just know as an attorney what a mountain you had to climb here. And it was done. So how exactly was this case won? Well, you've got a great team of attorneys who are bringing it, are figuring out.
Like I said, I wish they were able to focus more on the Adam Waldman statements, but there has to be a reason why they didn't pursue it further.
Who should testify, how they should testify, what questions we should ask, how we should dress, how we should make the arguments, everything from start to finish. So, again, in these next 2 nights, right here on Closing Arguments, we're going to take an in-depth look.
Oh, so part 2 should be out today then.
Johnny Depp's legal team. Chanley Painter, Court TV legal correspondent, who was there for the whole trial from start to finish. Sat down with Camille Vasquez and some other members of the team. Let's take a look.
Oh, I love Chanley. She's so bubbly.
Who is Camille Vasquez?
Who is Camille Vasquez? Oh boy. You know, I think what you see is what you get. My parents have 2 girls.
Okay, I'm going to slow it down a little bit, actually. They actually do speak pretty fast.
Girls, I am an aunt. I am a friend and a colleague. I was pretty much told that I was going to be a lawyer. I guess I was a pretty mouthy child, and I had opinions about a lot of things, and I expressed them passionately.
Who is Jessica Meyers?
I am a woman who grew up in Massachusetts. I knew from a very young age I wanted to be an attorney. In high school, I read To Kill a Mockingbird.
And just a reminder, Jessica was the one who did the direct examination of Johnny Depp.
And was sort of
with Ben
sold on
as a
advocating for people.
So tell me about yourself.
Well,
Oh, Sam! Oh my God, Sam's a homeboy. Dude, guys, if you guys don't know who Samuel Moniz is, he wrote some spicy emails, okay? Anytime when Elaine would start doing her Elaine things, Sam was like, keeping her in check. I made a video about it somewhere, so check it out if you haven't already. The emails are spicy as hell. I hope he writes my emails for me someday in the future.
Grew up in California, grew up in Sacramento.
Is this what you've always wanted to do?
Jared's making
Be a lawyer
today.
No. I wound up in law school because I couldn't think of what else to do with my life.
Oh, God.
I had no real plan coming out of college,
oh, God,
but
no.
I seemed to have a certain aptitude for law. I'm naturally argumentative.
How did you come to even represent Johnny Depp?
We were handling a couple litigations out of California, so I was staffed on those cases.
I'm an aunt.
And at that time, I was one of the few women on the team, and I think that being a woman helped me forge a relationship with Johnny that maybe some of the male part.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. I love how Johnny Depp had a lot of young people on his team. just loved it. And he had Wayne Dennison on his team too. Wayne Dennison has a little bit of like a stutter, kind of. And I'm so glad that Johnny Depp was like, hey, you know, you're fucking doing it. Like, I don't know. I love it. Because I feel like sometimes people want to be really nitpicky about certain people's like idiosyncrasies and make sure they're going to come out as like perfect. They're going to communicate well. Like, I don't know. I just love how they had young people on there. He gave young people a chance. Wayne Dennison was on there and he did an amazing fucking job. Fucking Wizard Slayer.
And I was able to learn probably more about him than he knows about himself, as I say to him sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually originally brought into the case because Ms. Heard had filed, I believe it was her second demur, which, you know, is a motion to dismiss. And this was, I think, probably her strongest one. It was making the argument that the statements were not defamatory because they never mentioned Johnny. So I was brought in to brief that.
I wasn't immediately involved in that, but pretty quickly things began to spiral and they needed more hands on the team. So Camille said, want to jump on board? And I said, fine.
We believed in
He handled the emails with Elaine. I wonder if Elaine's still trying, if they subject to their own questions on the Age Legal team. The guy who didn't want to sell Monopoly properties, what? Having young people on the team was a conscious choice from what I heard. Yeah, that's what Camille Vasquez did mention that in a different interview. I don't know if she's going to mention in today's interview as well.
Johnny, first and foremost. So we believed in him, we believed in our case strategy, and we believed in one another. We were really confident in our abilities to present this case in the most effective, truthful, and passionate way that we could. I think in our case here in the US, we really focused on the big lies, not every single lie, and exposing her to be untruthful.
In preparation for this trial, what was your team's game plan in taking?
And trust me, there were a lot of lies that they have to go through. Oh my goodness. If you guys ever looked into the Australia stuff, that's pretty wild too. The one that involved the assistant, also involved Johnny's assistant. Like, it involved a lot of people. And it was, I don't know, man. She's a POS, man. It's actually really sad.
Taking on this case?
We figured if he could tell his story, and once and for all, after 6 years, he can deny these allegations outright, and he can tell the story and give the jury, help give the jury a reason why she would make this up. We thought that there was really...
It's because it would be too convoluted, I would say. You don't want to confuse the jury. You want to actually present the lies that are easy to, you know, debunk, right? But like the Australia stuff was so messy, I feel like it would have gotten the jurors really confused.
A very small chance he could lose.
The beautiful thing about this team is I think we very quickly, everyone is incredibly talented, but people have their strengths, right? And so I think we sort of recognize what those strengths were.
No one had ever, in 5 decades, no one had ever accused Johnny Depp of being abusive of any kind with a woman. That's why it was such a jolt. A false allegation can devastate a career.
Love Ben's
and it can
glasses.
devastate a family. And the evidence will show that Ms. Heard's false allegations had a significant impact on Mr. Depp's family and his ability to work.
Oh, this is opening
in the
statements, I
profession
believe.
he loved.
We started talking about who was going to do what probably a week before, as we were writing the opening statement. I remember as a team, we collectively told Ben that we thought the opening needed to be split, where he would introduce Johnny.
It's good that they split.
And then the person that was going to go after Amber was going to be the person that was going to do that from the beginning.
Right.
In this trial, Ms. Heard will undoubtedly present photos that supposedly show injuries she sustained as a result of the claimed abuse by Mr. Depp. Here's what you should keep in mind when you see these photographs. First, the evidence and expert testimony from a forensic pathologist, a doctor, will show that the injuries reflected in these photographs are not consistent with the brutal allegations of abuse Ms. Heard has.
Oh my God, we're we're getting Secret Window vibes, are we not? Guys, if you haven't watched Secret Windows yet, go watch Secret Windows, okay? It's like such a 90s movie, but oh my god. It's pretty good. This is such Secret Windows
You will
vibes.
not see a single photograph of the vast majority of the abuse alleged by Ms. Heard. Not one. And there is not a single photograph or video.
But the thing is, we had photographs of it after, and that's what really hurt her. I don't know. I guess she just forgot that being a celebrity, you have a lot of pictures being taken, paparazzis around you everywhere. I don't know. I'm very confused.
Showing Mr. Depp becoming physically violent towards Ms. Heard.
As a lawyer, you have to have a critical eye towards the evidence, because if you just believe your client blindly, you're doing a disservice, because you have to anticipate that someone may not believe him or her, and so you have to be able to figure out a way to convince that person that your client's telling the truth.
And we will continue watching more of Chanley's interview, but we've got a special guest ourselves tonight. Joining us in Washington, D.C.,
Who?
trial attorney partner with Brown Rudnick and the lead attorney who represented
Wait,
Johnny
really?
Depp during his defamation case, Ben Chew. Ben
Oh shit, I didn't know he interviewed Ben Chew. I know he interviewed Ben Chew for the Casey stuff. Hold on, is this gonna be the same thing or is it gonna be different? This might be the Casey stuff.
back with us. Ben, great to see you. Thanks for coming aboard tonight.
Hi, Ben.
You're most welcome.
Say hi to Ben,
It's great
guys.
to see you. Thanks for having me again.
So
He's taking time out of his busy schedule. Say hi to us.
let's go here. Something that Camille said. We believed in Johnny. When did you first meet Johnny Depp, and what did you have any preconceived ideas about Johnny Depp before you got to know him?
I was introduced to Johnny by a mutual friend, another attorney, and I really didn't have
Adam
any
Waldman?
preconceived notions about Johnny other than that he was somewhat of a mysterious figure. He was a great actor, I knew that, but he really was very private. So until this, ironically, he really had been not reclusive, but he was someone who really valued his private life, and he kept his family life quiet.
And as you mentioned, until this, where everything spilled out into the courtroom. We've got a lot to get to this hour, so Ben Chew is going to stay with us.
With
as
us?
we continue
thank
to
you,
get an
Ben.
inside look at Johnny Depp's legal team. Also, folks, coming up next hour.
Coming up
Since
next
404
hour.
activated the contriver and
The Idaho stuff is really sad. It's wild that they haven't found the person yet.
Outside the courthouse in Fairfax County, Virginia, Camille Vasquez and Ben Chew after Johnny Depp
Hey, Ben. Love the outfit you wore to Johnny's concert.
won his defamation case.
Rain.
Tonight, we're getting an inside look at Johnny Depp's legal team. And still with me, Ben Chew. Ben, how daunting was it to prepare for this case? The amount of detail, the amount of years, and all of this, the evidence and the witnesses.
Vinny, we filed the case on March 1, 2019, and normally under Virginia state procedure, in Fairfax anyway, you generally get a trial within 1 year of filing the complaint.
1 year. Jeez. Oh my God.
But of course, everybody was hit with COVID, including Fairfax County, and that entailed at least 2 continuances of the trial date. So what would have been frenzied preparation.
Yeah, I'm glad that they had time, all the time to prepare. Holy crap. 1 year to do all that discovery, that research. Oh my goodness.
Of discovery while fighting off 4 or 5 separate sets of dispositive motions would have been condensed into that period. But as it happened, it ended up, we tried the case about 3 years later. The practical effect of that was there were a lot more depositions. I think Ms. Heard noticed about 80 depositions. She had some funding from insurance companies that provided a war chest that we really didn't have, but we responded as we needed to.
And as you prepare for this case,
Love that little job there.
at what point do you go start seeing and hearing the evidence, whether it's witnesses, depositions? Are you feeling any sense of confidence?
We always had confidence in Johnny. As Camille referred to in her interview with Chanley, we had represented Johnny on a couple of other cases and gotten to know him very well. And we had first heard the story.
Oh, that's right, because he also represented Johnny when Johnny was suing his, wait, was it the business partner or his previous lawyer? I forgot who it was.
Story of his relationship with Amber Heard before we even contemplated the lawsuit. So we were comfortable with Johnny and that he was telling the truth. But the witnesses, you know, you have to see as they come up. And more witnesses came forward, people who really were disinterested. They had no reason to support Johnny, but they came forward and they told very credible stories that supported Johnny's narrative. Their life played out in public, so
especially during the rebuttal,
saw what was going on.
Unbelievable. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see another trial quite like this one. Benchu with us the whole hour. Shanley Painter sat down with other members of the team.
Yay!
Other than your client, which witnesses were the most important for your case?
I think all of them played such a key role. There were so many people that wanted to testify in this case. They felt compelled to tell the truth. And so, you know, we started with Christy Dombrowski, Johnny's sister. And we did that again on purpose because jury trials are your opportunity to tell a story, a persuasive one, but a story nonetheless. And so we started from the beginning, which was Johnny's sister. Who is Johnny Depp? Who was Johnny Depp before he became the person that we all know as Johnny Depp?
How,
oh my God, these old pictures
did
of
Johnny
Johnny
react when his mother would hit him?
He was a typical little boy where if it hurt, he would cry. That was it. I mean, for the most part, you just wanted to get away from it.
It was about giving a why to certain members of that jury. Why would this person make up these allegations? And I think by Christy sharing a little bit about their childhood and Johnny's reaction to the abuse that they both sustained, started to paint a picture of who this person was many years later when he met Miss Heard and they had conflict.
Tell me about your role that you played during the trial.
Hey, Joe.
I was involved in a lot of the trial preparation, so drafting the motions in limine.
Elaine. Look at Judge Petty. Oh, what's going on here?
Arguing a lot of those. I took on several trial witnesses, including Gina Deuters.
That was sort of a moment in the trial that really blew up on social media, especially. She starts her testimony.
Gina Deuters was dismissed during her testimony.
She's about 15 minutes in, and then there's this sidebar out of nowhere.
You've been watching, so you have seen parts of this trial?
Yeah.
Okay, and witness testimonies?
Yeah, I've seen clips of...
You've seen it, thanks. Yeah. All right, does anybody have any follow-up questions?
Ms. Deuters, have you been watching?
It doesn't matter, she's been watching clips of witness testimony. All right, you're excused, ma'am. You can have your excuse.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I was conducting Gina's direct examination, and somebody in the gallery, a member of Miss Heard's party in the gallery, passed up to one of her attorneys a phone with screenshots of what
I think chat knows who that was.
appeared to be Gina Deuters posting on social media about the trial. What actually happened, ultimately it turned out, was that Gina had seen a couple of clips, a couple of isolated clips, just because people had been sending her clips on social media. But she hadn't been seeking it out, and she hadn't actually been watching any significant amount of it. And the apparent social media posts had actually been from the year prior.
Trial.
Dr. Shannon Curry. She was almost a crowd favorite. You could tell she connected with this jury. How important was Dr. Curry's findings and conclusions to your case?
As a result of the work that you performed, did you form any opinions with respect to Ms. Heard?
I did.
What were those opinions?
The results of Ms. Heard's evaluation supported 2 diagnoses: borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder.
Oh, look at Miss Heard. She don't like that. Yo, she got her bitch face on. She's like, I'm writing notes right now. Elaine, you better get all of this done.
Having a psychologist say, this is what IPV looks like. This is what PTSD looks like. This is what it doesn't look like. Was going to be persuasive.
There was one witness that you...
You know, I'm actually really disappointed because I thought Dr. Dawn Hughes would do a lot better. Dr. Dawn Hughes, I feel like she dropped the ball. She did pretty good when she was talking about herself, but then when she was talking about Amber's relationship with Johnny Depp, like, I don't know, she just sounded like a gossip tabloid. It was like really weird. Didn't seem as professional as Dr. Curry.
You guys put forth early on, the marriage counselor.
With Ms. Heard, he was triggered, and they engaged in what I saw as mutual abuse.
That was her opinion. That doesn't mean that she was saying that there was mutual physical violence on both sides. Again, no witness came forward and said, I saw Johnny Depp physically abuse Ms. Heard with my own eyes.
Any trial, you're going to have some testimony that you love and some testimony that you hate. And there's never going to be a trial when you don't end at least one day of it going, oh no, that was bad.
Which one?
And that was the case here. And I think we put on enough evidence showing that Johnny Depp has a lot of good qualities, is fundamentally decent, is fundamentally nonviolent, that ultimately that...
Yeah, a lot of people got on Dr. Hughes about that too. I thought it was weird that she was making those statements as well, but I knew she was trying to be more specific towards the Johnny Depp and Amber, but the way she said it seemed like, you know, it was kind of weird.
That comment, I don't think, made much difference.
All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look at Johnny Depp's testimony through the eye down.
Ms. Heard made some quite heinous and disturbing, brought these disturbing criminal acts against me that were not based in any species of truth, but never.
If you guys ever watch Johnny Depp interview, he talks exactly like this. The cadence is exactly the same. It's like not like, I don't know, because like it's not like he's like trying to play the victim or anything. Like this is exactly how he talks. There's this other video that we were watching. He was on stage and he was being interviewed with a bunch of people there, and he's already been like a seasoned actor. Like he's used to be on stage and stuff like that, but he talks exactly just like this, which to me just like yells like authenticity.
Did I myself reach the point of striking Ms. Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman.
Guys, I like Dobby, okay? Why are you guys calling her Dobby? Dobby's cool, okay? Dobby's a cool dude. He's a cool little duder.
Johnny Depp on the stand.
Dobby
Tonight
right
we're taking an in-depth look at Johnny Depp's legal team. Ben Chu is with us this hour. But Chanley Painter also sat down with the rest of the team, including Camille Vasquez. Here they are talking about Johnny Depp on the stand.
It's been 6 years of trying times. It's very strange when one day you're Cinderella, so to speak, and then in 0.6 seconds, you're Quasimodo.
Let's talk about your client. He spent 4 days on the stand.
Rip Quasimodo.
Early on in your case in chief, too.
Wait, so has Amber heard Quasimodo now?
Telling his story. How do you think it went overall?
I think it went really, really well. I was so proud of him. I really was. He was unapologetically himself.
So I was always a very private person.
I think it's so interesting how calculating she is with the days that she thinks she's gonna like. So like, on the days that Johnny Depp was on the stand and on the days that she was on the stand, she'd always had like minimal makeup on, you know, because she knew the cameras would be turned towards her, and then maybe she'll have some moments where she cries and maybe her mascara won't get messed up or anything. I don't know. It's just it's too calculating for me. She should have just done either all makeup, no makeup, all the days. Be
So
consistent.
for me to
Don't act like you're playing a role of your life, you know?
come up here and stand before you or sit before you all and spill the truth is quite exposing, and it's unfortunate that it's not only exposing for myself. It's exposing for my family. It's exposing for Miss Heard. It's exposing for... It never had to go in this direction. And so I can't say that I'm embarrassed because I know that I'm doing the right thing.
We knew fairly early on that Camille would be handling Amber's cross-examination, and so I think we thought it was important to not have the same...
Before Camille handled Amber's cross-examination, did you guys have any faith in her? Be honest. Anyone? JD has not seen The Rum Diary, does not watch any movies he's acted in. That's what I heard. I heard he doesn't watch it because he's just like, I'm done and over it. As the book, she's not taking that from him. Exactly, seems so manipulative, which is. She looks more like her sister without the makeup. Amber is Casey without, minus the M word. Yeesh. Yeesh. Yes, I did. No, she seems too young in my eyes to handle it. Not sure if it's confirmed, but I saw Aquaman 2. It is a no-go, completely getting rid of it. Wait, what do you mean? Aquaman 2 ain't out? What are you talking about? At least you got some inside access. Give us the access. The Rock, she kept looking at him kind of smirking, pretending to write. Until Camille, I thought there was a chance that JD could lose. I honestly thought Camille, I'm sorry, I completely judged the book by its covers. But when I saw Camille, I'm like, oh my God, she looks so sweet, so nice. And like Amber Heard, I knew she was like, that's a hard narcissist to beat. Like I said, I think she's like an S-tier fucking boss, okay? S-tier fucking villain, boss, whatever you want to call it. But she's up there. She's up there. Along with like Homelander, along with Cersei. I wasn't sure Camille Vasquez had a chance. But the moment that we saw Amber Heard in her Dr. Evil suit and Camille Vasquez was there and she opened her mouth, I was like, ooh, she got this. Damn, she's spicy. All right, let's see. Let's go.
Woman going after Amber, handling Johnny's direct examination. So I think the idea was that it would be best for women to handle both of those witnesses, but they couldn't be the same one. And so as the second most senior woman on the trial team at the time,
she's like in her 30s, by the way.
Came to me, and I was obviously, again, more than happy to say yes to that.
Homelander's
Mr. Depp, how did you feel about your father when he left? When it came to the day, I wanted to be as, background as possible. I wore beige, I had my hair back. I just wanted to be a voice in the background and have him be the focal point.
So how did you prepare him?
From my perspective, it was really just important that...
Like, the difference between the preparation that Jessica's talking about versus the manipulation that Amber does, it's completely different. Because Jessica, she talks about, like, taking her hair back. She wants to turn her, appearance down a little bit because Johnny Depp is the star. She's like soft-spoken. But the difference between that and Amber Heard, like, choosing which days to wear makeup and not wear makeup. And then, like, I don't know. It's just, there's a whole world of a difference because with Amber, you can tell that she's just trying to manipulate you. She's trying to make you feel bad. She's trying to make you guys feel bad for her. She's trying to look as victimly as she can. But I'm just very confused because the cameras are on all the time. Like I said, I think she should have just done one thing. She should have chose either all makeup or no makeup. The days that she showed up with no makeup was such a stark difference than the days that she had makeup on. And I felt like she should have just like either maybe just toned it down maybe just a little bit, but she went like 180, and to me it felt a little too much, a little too manipulative to me.
He'd be able to tell his story in the most uninterrupted way. And because up until this point, it really had been Amber's story that was out in the world. And so we wanted him to be able to tell, the world who he was and tell his side of this relationship that really had been one-sided in the public.
What people finally got to see was the real Johnny Depp. Funny, a little bit
quirky, weird show.
Annoyed.
Oh, a little bit annoyed. I was gonna say he's like quirky.
Times. Frustrated, I would say, with the process.
But I think he did a good job because there were times where when you're getting cross-examined, sometimes you do get miffed by the opposing lawyer that's like doing the cross-examination, right? Because, they're trying to get under your skin. And so I think he did a really good job that even though he was annoyed at Rottenborn, he would sometimes like turn it around a little bit and make it into like little funny like jokes here and there. But when Amber was being cross-examined by Camille Vasquez, there was a lot of like defense mechanism that was up. There was a lot of like, you know how sometimes when you're annoyed, it's really hard to hide your true self. Her fucking claws came out, her fangs came out. Like I don't know, man. She was like, dude, you could see her scathing side. Like when someone gets under your skin, it's really hard to play the role and act like you're like, oh, you know, I'm very soft-spoken, like a very nice person, but like, you know, sometimes it's hard to like hide your true self. And I think that's what Camille did a really good job at. She brought the true Amber out so many times, man.
The objections that, you know, but just real.
Oh, Mr. Rod is born.
18th.
In 2 years
quite
before.
Possibly, sorry, was quite possibly, maybe that was the online version that came out first.
2 years before
there's a
either the
very
online or the
different-
print.
I'm sorry, I was just
No,
going
I
to
think
finish my
you answered
answer.
my question, sir. Thank you.
Oh. Do you have a drinking problem, Johnny?
Objection calls for hearsay. What the doctors told him.
I'm not sure he's saying what the doctors told him.
I think that's what's about to be testified to.
Oh, if you can make that clear, I guess.
Let me ask you a different question, Mr. Depp.
Yes. Let's let him object to another one.
I think we developed a very good rapport. I think I find him very funny. I think he has an incredible sense of humor about incredibly painful things, right? And I appreciated his ability and willingness to sort of bare his soul in front of everyone. I've always had an appreciation for sort of psychology and how that impacts our work as lawyers. And so with Johnny, I think that appreciation really helped him feel, I hope, comfortable to tell his story. What have you lost as a result of Miss Heard making?
Meanwhile, apparently, like, I don't know, man, I feel like it's a world of difference having Johnny as your client versus having Amber as your client. Dude, apparently, some of like I think the law tubers that were actually present during the trial, I think it was after Elaine had done the redirect, and remember she bombed so bad that, you know, Camille Vasquez kept objecting to like everything. Elaine tried to rephrase the questions, but she couldn't, and she kept getting, I don't know, like it was really bad. I think that was the day that like they said they found Elaine crying in the bathroom and stuff like that. But like, I mean, just think about it, you know? Whole complete difference in what type of client you have. Like, I don't know. Amber, to me, like, I don't know, this is all conjecture, but just seeing from what we've seen so far from hundreds of hours of her reactions on footage on court, on the trial and stuff like that, like, I don't know, man. She seems like the type of person who'd be like, kind of like an asshole, probably, you know, probably treat you like you're lower than her. I don't know. I'm just assuming, but she seems like the type of person, just from the hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage that we've seen, you know, like her, like, little idiosyncrasies, you know, some of the faces she makes, how she, like, kind of, like, you know, talks back at, like, the other lawyers and stuff like that.
Making these allegations again.
They asked a question about Johnny's pee-pee. Oh, I vaguely remember that. What was the context of that again?
To you.
Nothing less than everything.
It's a good response.
Because when the allegations were made, when the allegations were rapidly circling the globe, telling people that I was a drunken, cocaine-fueled menace who beat women suddenly in my 50s. It's over. You know, you're done.
He's not everyone's cup of tea. He uses bad language. He's, you know, struggled with sobriety his whole life. But he didn't do this. I didn't believe that a man in his 50s wakes up one day and starts to abuse their partner.
I think he was genuine. I think people know he's an actor and they expected to sort of see him up there acting a bit.
And a little comment about the whole acting thing, how people are like, oh my God, like, you know, they're just acting. They're actors. They do this for their careers. Like, there's a difference between having lines fed to you and knowing what's going to happen in the script, knowing how someone's going to respond to it, versus trying to act for your life when you're on the stand. Because one, you don't know what questions you're going to get. It's about your personal life. They're going to dive deep into it, and you don't ever know what the other person's going to say. So when people say like, oh my God, they're actors, like, of course they're acting. And like, you can try the best that you can, but it's going to be really effing hard because it's into your personal life. And like I said, there's no scripts or anything. You don't know what the other lawyers are going to say. You don't know what's going to happen. It's hard. And that's like a mental gymnastics right there, to try to like act everything and like, while at the same time trying to be genuine. That's very, very tough.
And
in my opinion.
He wasn't. I mean, he was talking about...
Like, you can do the acting role stuff with you and your counsel when they do the direct examination, but when you get cross-examined, that's going to be really tough.
His really painful memories from his childhood. He was talking about these really painful experiences he had in his relationship with Miss Heard and in the aftermath after she had made allegations against him. And I think he wasn't afraid to really get into how he felt, how it affected him. And at the same time, he took ownership for his role, right? And I think that was compelling to people.
Unforgettable. Ben Chu still with us.
Ben!
The leader of Johnny Depp's legal team. Ben?
Ben always just looks so nonchalant.
And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but the fact that this trial was about what it was about, which was his entire life. Mm-hmm. How do you have that conversation? Or did he know by bringing a defamation case like this that the world was going to know everything?
Hi, Angelica.
Yeah, we had a long conversation with him. You know, before any defamation case, you have to do a lot of due diligence into...
I really do wonder how much effort is a lawyer going to put into doing due diligence, right? Like, I didn't know I didn't know what the process was for lawyers when they accept a case. I thought they just like accept it and then they just figure out as it happens, you know? But like, I wonder how much due diligence is really done, right? So if that's the case, then when a lawyer passes down, like, you know how sometimes there are lawyers that will take your case initially and they'll like, okay, like, we think someone else should represent you. And your case gets passed down to like other lawyers and other lawyers. Like, could that look really bad? Could that kind of mean that the lawyers that did their due diligence found that what you're saying was BS and they don't want to handle your case? And they're like, okay, we're just going to pass it on to someone else. Like, I don't know. I always wondered about the due diligence thing.
The truth, because obviously, as you well know, the truth is always the defense
Where's the
in any
alpaca?
defamation case.
It's probably in the background somewhere.
And we were confident that he was telling the truth, but then you get into some ancillary issues, which is, all right, we're satisfied that these allegations were false, but there are other things that may come in, you know, the alleged substance abuse, that kind of thing. He's a very thoughtful person. And he weighed all of that. And as I think you just heard in the snippet, he wasn't embarrassed because ultimately he knew he was doing the right thing.
So when do you think Elaine's going to start giving interviews again? Elaine, where you at?
And I really think that he was doing it for his family. I mean, his family knew that he didn't do this, but I think he felt that they should not go through life with the stigma of other people thinking that. And,
and especially with Lily Rose Depp, his daughter, being a figure as well. Like, she's like doing like movie roles or TV shows. I forget which one it was for the HBO one. She's like famous. She's like a model and stuff like that. Like, this could have affected her career as well, right? I'm not really sure what his son does, Jack, but do you guys know anything about Jack? Does he do anything like that? Does he like act, or is he just like chill and doesn't do like any Hollywood stuff?
my brother Peter came up with a great line that we used in
Ben has a brother?
my part of the
Peter?
closing, which was that this was, the only Me Too case without any other Me Too's. In other words, you think of all the others, and there's several who come forward after the first.
Well, there was Ellen Barkin, but Ellen Barkin's testimony deposition video was like, I don't know, man. Like, it was from like 30 years ago when Johnny Depp was much younger. And like when she said that he threw the bottle at her and they dug deep into that, she was like, well, actually, he didn't throw the bottle at me, but I was in the room and it was like there. Or, like, I don't know. It's just like, okay, why are you here? Like, this is the best they can do to find someone else to testify against Johnny Depp, someone that was in a relationship with him.
Allegation is made.
Oh, Peter's an artist?
Mr. Depp has been with many women in his life, some of whom he's disappointed, and not one of them, not one, came forward after she first made the allegation on May 27th.
Oh, Ben Chu is talking about, so usually when an alligator comes out, there will be other women who will come out as well. Be like, oh my God, like this happened to you. This also happened to me. And then other women be like, oh my God, this also happened to me as well. This is crazy. Our stories are lining up. He did the same thing to us.
2016.
So that is what Ben is referring to.
And I think that was very important. And I think it was something that we stressed. And that was not a claim Ms. Heard could make.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a claim Ms. Heard could make because she had a record of violence against a partner, or at least alleged violence, and that's not something that Johnny had. That really is so significant. Now, is your brother a lawyer? He's not. He is a comedian and an artist.
What? He's a comedian and an artist? What? Does he do any stand-up comedy anywhere? Where? This is DC, right? What? He's got a brother that's a comedian and artist.
Very talented, but he's a great word.
Yo, shout him out. What's his Instagram?
Smith. So I borrowed that line from him. Absolutely, and it's so true. Such a big part of the case. Ben Chu staying with us. We're going to have more of our in-depth. But for year-old and orders committee.
Seats claim against 2019 2911. Mr. Depp.
Everyone in chat kept pointing out to me that this was the same dress that she wore when she won the UK. Well, not won, but when the UK trial decided against Johnny. I don't know if it's true, but it kind of looks like it.
Claim against Ms. Heard.
Hi, Maleficent.
1. As to the statement appearing in the online op-ed entitled, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. In the Washington Post online edition, quote, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
Oh, man. I wonder how long it took for that to sink in. Because, like, that was actually kind of a confusing statement. It's like, wait, what? Wait, yes? Wait, is that for me or against me? Wait a second. Look at Elaine. Elaine looked like she knew it. She was already expecting it. I don't know. Elaine looked like she was already defeated.
Wow.
Or like that, or Elaine just took it nonchalantly. She's like, okay, well, kind of figured that would happen.
Wow. What a moment. I still call it the miracle in Fairfax. Unbelievable. We're taking an in-depth look at Johnny Depp's legal team tonight to figure out how that miracle was pulled off. Chanley Painter sat down with Camille Vasquez and some other members.
Wait, really? From the oh my God, is this the same dress from the TRO? She was wearing black. Interesting.
Members of the team. Let's take a listen to more of that interview.
Now, I've heard that you guys were called the Black Pearl.
Who told you?
I don't know.
So, yes, this is true. We are the Black Pearl.
But not cursed.
Not cursed. Though that was...
Wait, if they're the Black Pearl, what about Team Member Heard? What's the opposing one? What was Davy Jones? No, Davy Jones is cool, though. I really like Davy Jones. Davy Jones is, what was his ship called again? I don't remember.
It's, contemplated when we were coming up with a team name.
Ben kind of came up with this, I think it was Ben, that he would just start referring to us as the Black Pearl. So every email
dirt, stop. The Black Pearl versus the jar of dirt. Oh my God.
I get from Ben pretty much starts off with Black Pearl, comma, and goes into telling us whatever he wants.
Oh, the Flying Dutchman. Yeah, that's a cool name. I like the Flying Dutchman. Hi, Jill. We'll do a jar of dirt is funny.
Whatever he wants us to do. And that's just how we refer to ourselves. It took.
Obviously, it's the ship that Jack Sparrow is on or whatever. Truth be told, I actually haven't seen a lot of the pirates, so I know it's bad. Well, what's interesting about this is that we had some real big fans of Johnny and his work on the team. And they happen to be some of the people that wrote a lot of the briefs, and Jessica Meyers actually is a huge fan of Johnny Depp's and his films.
Yeah, so I grew up watching his movies, as I think many have. So when I would write the briefs, very often there would just be little tidbits that there would be a phrase or something that it would make me happy to drop it in, and I don't know that anyone else would notice. Camille says she did sometimes. I don't know if the courts noticed, but hopefully not, actually. But it was something to sort of make what can be sometimes an overwhelming and difficult job a little more fun.
And Johnny seemed like someone who was so upbeat the whole time. So,
God, she looks so good with short hair. I wish I could pull off short hair, but I can't. That looks really good on her.
He was very much a part of your team as well.
There is a funny story about Johnny during the trial. He was very involved. So after court, we would come back to the hotel we were all staying at, and we would meet and we would debrief, and then we would talk about what was happening the next day. And you know, there was definitely a rapport built between all of us. He played a pretty good practical joke on all of us. We had a war room that was down the hall from where he was staying. All of a sudden, someone knocks on the war room door, and there is a very elderly man outside who just comes barging into the war room and really had people going and scared because we didn't know who this person was. And then we heard the laugh, and the laugh is unmistakably Johnny. And it's actually one of the disguises he uses when he goes out.
Tell me about Benchu.
Wait, what? He has a disguise. Wait, what's the disguise? Johnny Depp, old man disguise? What's the disguise? What does it look like? Anyone have a picture of what it looks like? I'm so curious.
You gotta love Ben. He's honestly one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet. He's a genuinely nice guy. He gives people a lot of opportunities that they wouldn't ordinarily get at their level. He really sets his ego aside and decides what's going to be best for the case.
Let's replay that.
Sets opportunities that they wouldn't. He's a genuinely nice guy. He gives people a lot of opportunities that they wouldn't ordinarily get at their level. He really sets his ego aside and decides what's going to be best for the case.
I had the good fortune of working with Ben on another trial at the end of 2019, and afterwards I had helped him.
And then to actually top it all off, I already thought it was kind of weird that none of her like former friends or whatever testified for her in person. I thought it was weird too that her previous partner, Tasha Van Ray, also didn't testify as well. Anyone think that was weird? Because Tasha's name was on the witness list, but she didn't testify, and I don't think she even testified for the UK one as well.
Prep for a witness that he took at that trial, and I think he must have appreciated, you know, I think he appreciated the way that I knew all the documents and sort of had mastered the factual evidence for the trial.
Oh yeah, I think Elaine and Amber said that. I think Amber mentioned that in rebuttal, I think. You know, here's the thing. I don't know why they decided to put Amber up on the stand for rebuttal. That just opened her to be cross-examined by Camille again, and that was just a disaster the first time. Why did they allow her to do it the second time? Don't ever put Amber on the stand. Ever. Ever. Don't do it. And then in terms of, oh yeah, and I think Elaine said it as well in her closing statement. She said that Amber spent over like $6 million or something. And then Camille Vasquez was trying to object it, and then whatever. Oh, smash that like button. Do it. Yeah, smash the like button. Do it.
Trial. I'm so appreciative to Ben for giving me that opportunity and giving me that chance then, and then I'll be taking a chance on me at trial as well.
I mean, I adore Ben. He's a wonderful friend and mentor and fantastic lawyer. I have, you know, nothing but love and respect for him. I mean, these people were stuck together for life, you know.
Oh, look at Wayne Dennison. Look at that cutie pie right there. Wayne Dennison.
You like it or not at this point. I mean, you know, we're family. I mean, again, tremendous amount of respect for him and just adore him.
This is rare. This is rare. The lawyers can...
That's what I was about to say, Vinny. I was about to say the same thing. I was like, man, lawyers getting along this well, that's pretty freaking awesome. Treating each other like family and stuff, because I don't know. I've been in some work environments, and, you know, sometimes lawyers, they be a little spicy, and people are like, don't want to put up with them. Sometimes they're very demanding and shit.
Considering themselves a family.
But that's cool.
A
That's good. It's a
team,
good work
and
environment.
Everybody loves Ben Chu. Ben Chu, still with us, and also joining us now, Core TV legal correspondent.
Oh, look at her jacket. Cute. What is she wearing? A turtleneck or something?
Chanley Painter. And Chanley, you can verify that everyone
Oh, it's a
loves
scarf.
Ben Chu,
Okay.
right?
Everyone loves Ben Chu. You know, it's so rewarding as a journalist, Vinny, to start a story day one, sit inside a courtroom every day, get to know the teams, the players, the parties, and then full circle almost sit down afterwards. And really, they pull the curtain back, and we learn so many new details that are revealing. And yes, who doesn't love Ben Chu, right? Such a great guy. So honored to have him on tonight. But this isn't it. We have a whole show tomorrow, another hour.
Yay!
That was just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg, Vinny.
Gotcha. And we're going to have a preview of that in just a second. Ben, let me ask you about this team, this family, this trust. Was this trial fun?
Is Camille Vasquez in their D.C. location as well, or is Camille their California location? I think Camille's California-based, right?
There were aspects of it that were a lot of fun. This was such a great team, myself excluded and Wayne excluded. Wayne Dennison is another tremendous senior attorney, but
where is he at?
Ourselves excluded. It was a very young team.
Get Wayne in here.
We had the benefit of working with them. It was wonderful. We were very close, and Johnny also is a lot of fun. There were moments of tension. You know, his life was on the line, so it wasn't all fun and games. And our love for him kind of made us work even harder. And I wanted to clear up one thing for the record. It was Jessica who came up with the Black Pearl. I'd love to take credit for that, but that was her.
She's the big fan. All right, Chanley, what can we expect tomorrow night in part two? And Ben, you're joining us tomorrow night too, right?
Part two?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. What's coming up tomorrow night, Chanley?
Yeah, tomorrow night we're going to shift. We focus tonight a lot on Depp's case in chief rebuttal. Tomorrow, Amber Heard's case, specifically a lot of Camille Vasquez's perspective on Amber's testimony, how she prepped for the cross-examination, what didn't go as planned, and what surprised her. Here's a taste, Vinny.
All right, that video is not up yet, but when it's up, we'll react to it, okay? We'll watch it together.
During the cross of Amber, anything surprise you?
Yes, she...
Yes! The way she said it was like exasperated, yes. Like, yes, like, I don't know, I feel like Camille still feels a little bit traumatic from that experience.
During the cross of Amber, anything surprise you?
Yes, she...
Holy fuck, yes.
She came off angry. At some of
that facade of hers faded away when she was pissed, okay? Don't fuck with the narcissist. Actually, fuck with the narcissist, because you'll find out who their you'll find out their true selves. Yeah, the true selves.
the questions. And that was surprising to me, but also I thought really helpful for our case because I think the jury got to see, at least in our opinion, who the real Amber Heard was.
There's a lot more of that, plus some new details, Vinny, on the jury. Things that I didn't know sitting in there staring at the jury all day long coming from Camille Vasquez, plus the team's reaction to the appeal filed by Amber Heard, and a lot of...
The amicus curiae, Ben Chu, are you going to comment on it?
The arguments from Amber's side, there's some tough questions that they're going to field tomorrow. We're going to hear their answers, especially with Amber Heard arguing about this chilling effect that she believes this verdict has on women or survivors who want to step forward and talk about domestic abuse. So we'll have the...
Oh, look at Nadelhoff. Forgot about Nadelhoff. Hey, Nadelhoff, how are you doing over there?
Depp team's reaction to all of those.
This guy, if we were ever to rewatch the trial again, I want to pay close attention to Nadelhoff. He made some funny ass facial expressions. This guy is actually really funny. Y'all didn't pay attention to him because you guys were too busy with Amber's bullshit. But this guy is hilarious.
Tough questions tomorrow.
Ben, let me ask you about Amber Heard. Had you ever heard of Amber Heard before this?
Oh, shit. Vinny. Oh, my God, Vinny. Vinny is setting up Ben. Okay, let's see what Ben says.
I really hadn't, only in the context of speaking with Johnny and knowing that.
Ben's like, who are you married to? I've never heard of her before.
By the time I met him, they had already been divorced, but I didn't know any of her work as an actress.
And the Washington Post op-ed that's the subject of all of this. When it first came out, did you see?
I'm not gonna lie, I did hear of Amber Heard, but I didn't know what movies or roles she was in. I always just know, I always thought her as the pretty one who kind of reminded me of Margot Robbie. I don't know. I always like got them mixed up.
Did you read it? Were you surprised, or is it something that you get a call from Johnny saying, what's going on here?
I was surprised. I mean, I read it, and then almost contemporaneously, I got a call from someone on Johnny's team, but I read it the same way the jury read it. It clearly was referring to Johnny. There wasn't much subtle about it, and the fact that they didn't literally mention his name was immaterial. I thought it was outrageous.
And one more question. We don't have less than a minute left here, Ben. How big this trial became? Did you have any idea going in?
No, we really didn't. I mean, when the chief judge decided it would be televised, we knew there would be some notoriety. It really didn't hit me until opening arguments.
And again, remember, Elaine said she fought tooth and nail to try to prevent this from being televised, okay? She did not want to have Amber Heard on the stand in front of the world to see. I'm so glad that she lost that battle.
Camille and I split. And when I got up there, I kind of realized the magnitude of it in terms of the interest that people had. And then every day around the courthouse, of course, it was, there were people, there were alpacas. It was quite a scene.
It snowballed. It absolutely did. All right, Chanley Painter, thank you so much. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Ben Chu.
For a part 2. Well, again, when they come up with that, we're gonna watch it together. Let's react together. I did want to add something. I forgot what I was gonna say. Blah 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 blah. Something with Elaine. Oh God, I don't remember now. Amber has done such forgetful side roles. No one knows her. I never knew who she was. I went back and watched The Rum Diary. She showed her true colors in that movie. Poor Johnny got bewitched. So I thought it was really interesting that I kind of just stumbled upon this trial. So before this trial happened, I was streaming Court TV while I was playing Elden Ring, and it was the bar MURDR trial. Okay, actually no, I can't even spell it out because when you spell it out, it shows up in the caption. It was a bar murder trials. We were watching it and streaming it on stream, and I was playing Elden Ring at the time. And then when that was over, I was like, oh, I wonder what the trial Court TV is gonna have as well. And I was like, oh, they're doing a Johnny Depp stuff. Oh, Johnny Depp, what is he up to? What happened to Johnny Depp? Oh my God, I didn't know there's so many accusations levied towards him. What happened here? And then I completely just stumbled upon covering this trial because I was also watching this trial while playing Elden Ring. And then when we were getting really invested into it, when I felt like I had to really listen, I was like, oh my God, we got to focus on this trial. There's so much reading that I did every freaking night because there's so much materials, like reading the court transcripts from the UK trial and the different depositions, stuff like that. Like it was a lot. I knew of her from my niece talking about the same woman screwing over JD. My husband's favorite DC movie was Aquaman. He didn't even remember her in it. RIP. I watched Justice League. She was barely even in it. She was sort of in it, but not even really in it. But the way they they kept talking about her, oh yeah, she's in Justice League. Oh, she's in Aquaman. It's she was in it, but did she really have a major role? Not really. I guess there was a major role with her being Jason Momoa's love interest, but it wasn't like she was I don't know. She didn't have a lot of cameo time, especially in Justice League. The salmon in my freezer. would have played Mirror better than Heard. All right, everyone. Well, so we'll keep an eye out for this court TV stuff. Part 2 will be coming out, and I'm excited. All right, everyone. I hope you guys had fun here. It was nice chatting with y'all. I am going to end my stream, and if you missed this, don't worry about it. I'm going to post this video on YouTube. I think I'm just going to post it ASAP just so you guys can watch it before part 2 comes out. So I'm going to post this on YouTube. Thank you so much for hanging out. And then I'm going to stream on twitch.tv/Corgi-san with 2 A's. We're going to be playing a horror game on there. So if you want to stop by, feel free. Come by and say hi. If you like horror games, that's your thing. Feel free to stop by. But other than that, I will see you guys, I guess, whenever they post this video out. So maybe tomorrow, I guess. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll watch it together. We'll react together. And hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much. Take care. And thank you so much for the gifted memberships. I do appreciate it. I really appreciate those who are here chatting with me. If you're a new member, you now have a baby corgi icon next to your name. And you can use emotes. So feel free to spam the emotes. So thank you so much for all your support, guys. We have new videos that are out regarding Casey, more Amber Heard appeal stuff. If you missed earlier, Team Johnny Depp responded to Amber Heard's amicus curiae. Well, not responded directly, but they wanted the court to reject it. That's pretty spicy as well. So if you missed that, don't worry about it. I'm going to post a video pretty soon, okay? So take care. Oh, also, we have a new vlog that's up as well. November, December vlog. Check it out. And I will see you